Okay, area of a triangle problem. First of all, we develop the formula for the area of a triangle by starting with a parallelogram. The area of a parallelogram is base times height, but we take the parallelogram and divide it into two congruent triangles by drawing a diagonal. Now, because they're congruent, the area of one triangle is equal to the area of the other triangle. So if they totaled base times height, the area of either triangle has to be 1/2 the base times the height. Another way of saying that is the area of a triangle equals the base times the height divided by 2. Either way is fine. It's half of a parallelogram. So the way in which we use this formula. Again, just like for a parallelogram, the base and the height have to be perpendicular to each other. So if we have segment BC is the base, and that makes segment AD the length of the altitude, which is informally called the height. So we have area equals 1/2 the base times the height. So in this case we have area equals 1/2 times the base, which is 10, times the height, which is 6. 1/2 of 60 is equal to 30. The area of the triangle is equal to 30. Next problem. The area of a triangle ABC is what we're talking about here. The area equals 1/2 times the base times the height. So in this case, the base is segment BC, which is 8, times the height, which is segment AD, which is 4 times square root of 2. Doesn't have to be a rational number, obviously. 2 goes into 8 4 times 4 square roots of 16. 4 times 4 square roots of 2 is 16 times square root of 2. Next question. The base doesn't have to be at the bottom, but usually people like it that way, so you can always take the triangle and rotate it around, resize it, whatever. So if you'd rather have the base, the 4 plus 9, to be at the bottom, that's fine. The base is 13. The height has to be drawn from the other vertex perpendicular to the side you're considering to be the base, so that's 7. So we have area equals 1/2 times the base times the height. So the area in this case is 1/2 times the base, which is 13, times the height, which is 7. Now if you don't have any even numbers to cancel, you multiply 13 times 7 in this case, and you get 91 divided by 2. Now you could leave the answer as 91/2, or you could change it to 45.5. Next question. Now we have the area is given, so we say the area equals 1/2 times the base times the height. So 120 equals 1/2 times the base, which is 20, times the height, which we'll call x. So in this case, you can proceed a couple of different ways. I'd rather say 1/2 of 20 is equal to 10, so we really have 10x equals 120. And dividing each side by 10, we have x is equal to 12, which is the answer to the question. Now instead of finding a common factor to cancel, you could have just multiplied each side of the equation by 2 at this point and had 20x equals 240 and solve for x that way. Same thing. Next problem. We don't know the height and we don't know the length of the segment at the bottom that I want to use as the base, so first thing we do is use the Pythagorean theorem for this right triangle on the left. And we have 5 squared plus x squared equals 13 squared, where this is the value for x for now. So we have 25 plus x squared equals 169. We subtract 25 from each side of the equation. X squared equals 144. So x equals the square root of 144, which is 12. So zooming in on the diagram, we just found the length of this vertical segment to be equal to 12. Now if we look at the triangle on the right, this right triangle, we now know 2 of the 3 sides there, so we'll call this leg over here y, and we'll solve for y. 12 squared plus y squared equals 20 squared, so 144 plus y squared equals 400. We subtract 144 from each side of the equation. We get y squared equals 256. So y equals the square root of 256, which is 16. So y equals 16. So now, to find the area of the triangle, we say the area equals 1/2 times the base times the height. So in this case, that's 1/2 times the base, which is this entire segment. 5 plus 16 is 21, times the height, which is 12. Now, because it's all multiplication, you can multiply in any way you want, so I like to say 1/2 times 12 equals 6, and 21 times 6 is equal to 126, which is the answer to the question. Next problem. Anytime you have a right triangle, one leg can be considered to be the base, the other leg becomes the height. So the first thing we have to do here is solve for the length of the height, which is solved for by using the Pythagorean theorem. 9 squared plus x squared, or the other way around, equals 15 squared. So x squared plus 81 equals 225. We subtract 81 from each side of the equation. We get x squared equals 144. So x equals the square root of 144, which is 12. So now area equals 1/2 times the base times the height. So it's 1/2 times the base is 9, the height is 12. Now you can say 9 times 12, or you can say 2 goes into 12 6 times. Either way, it's the same thing. In this case, 9 times 6, 54 is the area, or 1/2 of 108 if you had multiplied 9 times 12. In any case, 54 is your answer. And one more problem. We have a 45, 45, 90 triangle. We have 1/2 the base times the height. As I stated on the previous problem, the 2 legs for a right triangle can be used for the base and the height respectively. So the area equals 1/2 times the base times the height. If you have a 45, 45, 90 triangle, the hypotenuse is found by multiplying a leg times the square root of 2. So if we take the hypotenuse and divide it by the square root of 2, we find the length of the leg. Now that's not in simplified form, but notice what happens when you plug in 8 times square root of 2 for both the base and the height. You have 1/2 times 8 over the square root of 2 times 8 over the square root of 2. So the base is 8 over the square root of 2. The height is 8 over the square root of 2. 1 times 8 times 8 going across the numerator. That equals 64. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 equals 2. Times the 2 that's out in front gives you a denominator of 4. And 64 divided by 4 is equal to 16. So the area is equal to 16. Now you could have found the 2 legs to be equal to 4 times square root of 2 if you simplified this value, and notice what happens. 1/2 times the base, 4 square root of 2 times 4 square root of 2. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 equals 2, and that 2 can cancel with this 2, and you just have 4 times 4 is 16. Same answer. And I guess we have another problem here. For a 30-69 triangle, one leg is the base, the other leg is the height. For a 30-69 triangle, the hypotenuse is twice as long as the shorter leg, which is down the bottom here. So to reverse the steps, you take 12 and divide it by 2, you get 6. And the longer leg is always that number times the square root of 3. So area of the triangle, 1/2 times the base times the height, is 1/2 times 6 times 6 square root of 3. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 3 times 6 is 18 times square root of 3. 18 square root of 3 is your answer. Okay, I think that's the last problem we have for today. Hopefully all of that helped, and good luck on your quiz.